Queen's Guard story. Third document. Camilla's expression changed completely when Detective Inspector Collins mentioned Miss Thompson's revelation. The composed mask she had maintained throughout their conversation slipped for just a moment, revealing something that made Captain Morrison's blood run cold. It wasn't the look of an innocent person being wrongly accused. It was the calculated expression of someone who had been caught. "I think there's been a misunderstanding," Camilla said slowly, but her voice lacked the natural indignation that Morrison would have expected from someone falsely accused of such a serious crime. Collins pressed forward with her questioning. "Your Majesty, we have documented evidence that you requested specific information about Princess Charlotte's daily routines, her favorite locations, and her schedule. This same information was found in the possession of the suspect who attempted to conduct surveillance on the princess. Can you explain this coincidence?" Morrison positioned himself slightly behind and to the side of Camilla, following standard procedure for potentially dangerous confrontations. His years of training had taught him that the most dangerous criminals were often those who appeared least threatening. The idea that he might need to physically restrain the queen consort seemed surreal, but his duty was clear. Camilla remained silent for several long seconds, clearly calculating her response. When she finally spoke, her words would change everything about the royal family's understanding of the threat they faced. "You have no idea what you're interfering with," she said, her voice taking on a harder edge that Morrison had never heard before. "This goes far beyond your limited understanding of palace security." Collins exchanged a quick glance with Morrison. Camilla's response was essentially a confession that she was involved, but it also suggested the situation was more complex than they had realized. "Help us understand, then," Collins replied calmly. "Explain why you needed detailed information about an 8-year-old girl's daily activities and why that information ended up in the hands of someone conducting illegal surveillance." Camilla's laugh was cold and calculating. "Charlotte represents something you couldn't possibly comprehend. Her position in the line of succession, her future role, her potential influence. There are people who need to understand these things, who need to prepare for various possibilities." Morrison felt a chill run down his spine. Camilla wasn't just admitting to providing information to unauthorized individuals. She was talking about Princess Charlotte as if she were some kind of political asset to be monitored and controlled. "Who are these people?" Collins demanded. "Who did you provide this information to, and what was their purpose in surveilling Princess Charlotte?" For the first time during the confrontation, Camilla appeared genuinely angry. "You're asking questions that are far above your security clearance, Detective. There are considerations of national security, international relations, and dynastic planning that require careful monitoring of all royal family members." Morrison had heard enough. His primary duty was protecting Princess Charlotte, and Camilla had just admitted to providing information that put the young girl at risk. He stepped forward, his hand moving to his restraints. "Your Majesty, I need you to come with us for further questioning," he said formally. "You're being detained in connection with a security breach affecting Princess Charlotte's safety." Camilla turned to look at Morrison directly, and for a moment he saw something in her eyes that made him understand this was far from over. "You have no idea what you're starting, Captain. The people I work with don't appreciate interference." "Are you threatening a member of the palace security staff?" Collins asked, her voice sharp with professional authority. "I'm simply explaining reality," Camilla replied. "This investigation needs to end here, or there will be consequences that extend far beyond anything you can imagine." Morrison made his decision. Years of protecting the royal family had taught him to recognize genuine threats, and everything about Camilla's behavior and words screamed danger. He reached for his radio to call for backup, but Camilla moved faster than he expected. She pulled a small device from her pocket and pressed a button before Morrison could react. Within seconds, his radio went dead. The jamming device she activated also interfered with Collins' communication equipment. "Now we have a few minutes to discuss this properly," Camilla said, her demeanor completely transformed from the composed royal family member she had appeared to be moments earlier. Collins immediately moved to a defensive position, realizing they were now isolated and potentially in danger. Morrison calculated the distance to the nearest palace entrance and estimated how long it would take for other guards to notice their absence. "The surveillance operation was just the beginning," Camilla continued, apparently enjoying their shocked reactions. "Charlotte's schedule, her routines, her relationships with staff members, all of this information is valuable to people who are planning for significant changes in the royal family's structure." Morrison's mind raced as he tried to understand the full scope of what she was revealing. "You're talking about threats against the royal family. You're planning something against Princess Charlotte." "Not against her," Camilla corrected. "For her. There are people who believe the line of succession needs to be adjusted. Charlotte's position could become very important under certain circumstances." The implications of her words hit Morrison like a physical blow. She was talking about manipulating or eliminating other members of the royal family to change Princess Charlotte's position in the line of succession. The 8-year-old girl wasn't just being surveilled. She was being positioned as a pawn in some kind of dynastic conspiracy. Collins had been quietly working on her backup communication device while Camilla spoke. She managed to send a silent alarm signal that would bring palace security to their location, but it would take several minutes for help to arrive. "Who else is involved in this?" Morrison demanded, moving closer to Camilla despite the potential danger. "How many people inside the palace are working with you?" Camilla smiled, and Morrison realized she was enjoying the revelation of her secret role. "More than you think, Captain. People in positions you would never suspect. Palace staff, government officials, even some members of the extended royal family who believe changes are necessary." Morrison's training took over completely. Whatever Camilla's ultimate plans were, she represented an immediate threat to Princess Charlotte and potentially to other members of the royal family. He needed to restrain her and get her into secure custody before she could warn her conspirators that their operation had been exposed. "You're under arrest for conspiracy, treason, and threats against the royal family," he announced, moving to place her in handcuffs. Camilla didn't resist, but her final words chilled Morrison to the bone. "You think you've stopped something, Captain, but you've only delayed it. The people I work with have backup plans for their backup plans. Charlotte will still serve the purpose she was meant to serve." As Morrison secured the handcuffs, he could hear the sound of approaching footsteps. Palace security was finally arriving, but he knew the real investigation was just beginning. Camilla's arrest would expose a conspiracy that reached deep into the highest levels of British society and government. The threat to Princess Charlotte hadn't ended with Camilla's capture. It had only revealed how extensive and dangerous it truly was. Morrison realized he had uncovered something that would require the attention of the highest levels of national security, and protecting Princess Charlotte would now require resources far beyond normal palace security protocols. As additional guards arrived to secure the scene, Morrison looked toward the palace where Princess Charlotte was safely inside, unaware that she had been at the center of a conspiracy that could have changed the course of British history. His job now was to help uncover every person involved in this plot and ensure that the 8-year-old girl could grow up without the shadow of dynastic manipulation hanging over her future. The investigation that followed would reveal connections that shocked even the most experienced intelligence officers. But Morrison's quick action in the palace gardens had prevented a conspiracy that could have altered the monarchy forever. Princess Charlotte was safe, but the full extent of the threat she had faced was only beginning to be understood.